flirting is mostly verbal or nonverbal?
Ooh.
Is that really that like?
No, I think. Well, no, I think it's I just didn't think about it. I think it's more verbal.
Verbal. Interesting. That actually is really funny because the way that women have cultivated like seduction has been verbal versus the visual for men. So that's funny that you say that. At the same damn time, the flirting with intent that you're so advocating for, I think it has to be physical and nonverbal.
Well, I think it's I think it's like right there. I think it's like there's like a verbal and nonverbal component. But I'm gonna err on the side of like both, verbal.
But I'm gonna say nonverbal because you can seduce and flirt with a person without saying shit.
Totally.
And to that point, I don't think it necessarily matters what you're saying when you're flirting. It 100% matters how you're doing it, right?
Yeah.
A little touch on the arm, a little expression, a little eyebrow thing, a little wink. I suck at winking. Fuck, I'm so mad. That's the one thing. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Intellectual Podcast. We're just putting a little sprinkle of nuance in the polarizing conversations of the internet. I'm Jem.
And I'm Renee.
And we are your hosts for today's conversation, where we're going to, what are we doing? We're going back to our little subject that we had about love, and we're talking about another component. Greek form, it's called Ludus, playtime. Playful love. Playtime. It's playful love.
It is true.
Ludus, flirting, seduction. It brings a childlike innocence to the beauty that is how we cultivate and express love with each other as adults. So we're gonna talk about that.
Yeah, I think it'll be. I don't know. I think often too, especially like in like these episodes that we talk about relationships and love and all that sorts of stuff, it's always talked about like in a serious way, I think, oftentimes at least. And I know that we talk about it in a very serious way as well here, because love is serious and people's emotions and feelings are serious, and we should take that shit
so serious
consideration.
Jesus Christ.
But I think sometimes we can forget how fun love can be and exist. Not even just love, but that kind of space of existing in I guess Ludus literally is what we'll be talking about. So I think it'll be fun.
We sometimes forget in dealing with very serious and lofty relationship things. Right. That relationships also are really fun and it's really like enjoyable hanging out with another person that you can have sex with and that is really like into you, like hanging out with a person that you're attracted to and that's attracted to you and just mutual and you understand that shit. Woo!
Amazing.
Chef's kiss, baby.
That's what we want.
I love it. And how do we get here? How do we keep that energy alive? Because honestly, flirting and playing and having a good time, so fucking easy when shit's starting out. But over the term, we start to forget when we have to deal about like bills and children and bills, the
not
weight,
the mortgage,
like, bills. Oh fuck, Jesus Christ!
Oh my gosh!
Like, you know, like when life happens, it's hard to remember that this is all just a game. We're experimenting with life. Life doesn't really. Oh wow, that's very nihilistic.
It's all just a game. I was like, really?
Like life, the experience of living, is kind of innocuous. Yeah. So why do we take it so serious? Because of capitalism. But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
How do we bring it back? How do we bring it back? How do we bring that love back? You had a good fucking time. You were doing that shit. Do you want to talk about that? Is that weird to talk about?
I mean, I won't talk about it too much in detail out of respect for myself.
Right.
But
out of respect for myself, I'm dead.
But I actually was going to mention.
Why is that disrespectful to yourself? I'm shocked. You did a good thing.
Yes.
Let the people know. Come on, this is fine.
I'm going to share, but I don't know how much details I want to share.
That's up to you. Jesus Christ.
But I actually was going to mention, because I don't know if you remember, or if people who listen to our New Year's episode, I mentioned that one of my ends for this year was flirting with my boyfriend more.
Let's go.
And I feel like I am succeeding in that 1000%. Matt and I went on a little couples weekend trip to Big Bear, and it was during Valentine's week, essentially.
This was their Valentine's celebration.
Yes, exactly. And sort of our 2-year celebration, since we didn't do too much for our 2-year.
When's your guys' like actual anniversary?
Our 2-year anniversary?
Just your anniversary. It's gonna be the same.
Oh, right.
When's your anniversary?
It's January 9th. So it's right after New Year.
Well, I hope it's not gonna be different for the third.
Right. I know it wouldn't be, naturally. So anyways, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. We had a really good time because I think the focus for this trip was less, and this is something that Matt and I can really tend to do, is talk about the seriousness of a relationship. And
you guys are hella deep.
We definitely, as two big overthinkers, people who can be in their heads, etc., who, we can tend to like focus so much on the seriousness of the relationship that it can be hard to pull ourselves out of it and to just kind of enjoy the relationship. And I think this weekend was a really great time where we got to do that. And we played fun games, and let's just say we didn't leave the cabin very often.
There you go.
That's what happened.
I love the implications.
Yes.
You're very good at giving them nothing.
Yes.
But like everything that they need.
Right.
I know the truth. Yes. I'm not going to say shit. It's not my business. It's not my business. But I got the whole the 365, the Disney, what is it? The 401, the 511, what is it?
The 411?
I got the whole 411.
Yes.
And it was a great moment. I'm proud of y'all.
Yes.
Good shit,
Me
dog.
too.
Good
Me too.
fucking shit. That being motherfucking said, we haven't met in a month.
Yes.
Damn near. And a lot of shit has been going
in both of our lives.
No, it's like in the world. Like, yes, in both
world.
of our lives, sure. But
yes,
like
yes.
in the world, like shit has been going down.
There's been lots of internet happenings.
Have you
for sure?
I think this might be relevant to today's conversation.
Okay.
Did you hear about the love is blind situation?
Oh my God. I'm so happy you brought this up because I meant to bring that up and I forgot.
Do you watch Love is Blind?
I do. Okay, this is the thing.
I'm so curious.
I haven't watched it since the second season because I just kind of got bored with it. And then I listened to a podcast that they recap the Love is Blind, and just hearing them recap it, I'm like, these people are tragic. The relationships aren't believable. And it's like everyone... And
They're
then
just on it because of the hype now.
Yeah, it was just like, I just wasn't into it anymore. I was kind of disappointed with like kind of how it was going. I tuned into this season because I just heard it was like crazy good.
Yeah.
And when let me tell you, literally at work, we were literally on the TV, had it on at work while we were helping customers.
Wow, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah, well, we had already watched it, but one of my coworkers. Anyways, we're obsessed with it right now, and it's wild. Also, Love is not blind, for sure.
For this season, for sure, Love was not blind.
No,
and I'm gonna have to say it. I'm gonna have to say it because it needs to be freaking said.
Do it. Do what you got to do.
The experiment. The name of the show.
Yeah.
Love is Blind. We don't care how you look.
Yes.
We shouldn't care how you look. It defeats the purpose to even imply how you look. But,
Right. But what do they do?
But if you're going to tell me how you look, don't lie to me.
Don't compare yourself to literally one of the hottest sex symbols of our modern day times. Come on. And two, as a man, don't believe that shit. First of all, you need to tailor expectations. Right. That man, what's his name? Jimmy.
Horny as hell. I don't know what he was doing, but you see, that's the thing. Love is blind, right? You're creating this fantasy in your head about this person, and you like them so much, and they say they look at this. Of course, you're gonna be excited. But at the same damn time, you know damn well this person does not look like Megan Fox.
Well, and this is the thing, though, too, is that like you're going. Maybe in that situation, you're going to believe that because it's like, why would someone compare themselves to Megan Fox if they don't look like Megan Fox? But I will also argue this as well, because I've even said like, I've had this conversation ad nauseum with several people, just so everyone knows. I've been compared to Zendaya so often.
A fair comparison.
And I look nothing like Zendaya. But the thing is if I in the pod said I looked like Zendaya and then I came out and you saw what I looked like, there is a similar enough vibe. We have a similar enough body type, everything, whatever, that there wouldn't be much like disappointment.
You could definitely be like a Zendaya stunt double type shit, and no
Sure,
one
from the
would
back
be
of the head,
crazy.
for sure.
Or just even like,
So what I'm saying is that if Jessica had said that she looked like Megan Fox, she looks nothing like Megan Fox. I'm just saying she looks
that's the
nothing
other
like
one, right?
that's the other one that he was considering.
You're gonna choke.
Yeah. Oh, she said, you're going to need your EpiPen. You're going to choke. Oh my God.
Girl,
Died.
relax.
No, I loved it. I loved it until they went home and then she was like, I'll still get with him. I'm like, girl, oh my God. You just deflated that
There's
whole
a
statement.
whole think piece about how like she's really grappling with insecurity, even though she looks like that, which honestly, I enjoyed it. It was funny.
Yeah.
But like,
whatever.
yeah.
But I think that if Jessica says she looked like Megan Fox and then they ended up matching up and she came out, Jimmy would not have been disappointed.
Yeah. You can't be mad
Just simply
like
because she's like similar.
Giving Megan Fox.
She's similar build, right? She's small, petite. She's like very like
attractive,
very attractive, and like is it conventional, not conventional,
conventionally attractive.
Like she's like has that face where like that's the type of face that is like people are very attracted
You're
to.
not Megan Fox,
Right?
Exactly, but like I can see how people are saying that.
Right, like
for her, the other girl, what's her name?
Chelsea.
Chelsea,
Yeah.
like who's lying to you
Yeah.
is my first thing.
You know, this is the thing though. I'm not gonna lie. I see why people say that. In the face, like in this area. But that's the thing. But this is the thing. No, but this is the thing though. When you're friends, when people compare you to celebrities, you don't actually look exactly like them, but there's like a thing that they're calling to that makes you look like the thing, right?
Sure,
so it's understandable.
I'll give them that, but god damn.
It's So I don't know. I think like I understand why people call.
That's rough.
I see what people see in it when they say that she looks like Megan Fox. I see it in the eyes for sure, in the brow area, but like overall, like the general vibe is she's not like Megan Fox.
She's more like a Megan Trainor, not a Megan Fox. A Megan motherfucking Trainor.
And what's so unfortunate is she seems like a sweet person, and she just kind of
fine.
She really like honestly, I think Jimmy and Chelsea are like in each other's leagues of attractiveness.
I agree.
And so I think
agree.
she really like, it's unfortunate because she really shot herself in the foot, because I think they are like, I think that really just like set them up for like failure.
Man. And to the point where it defeats the purpose of the entire show.
Yeah.
Because you all would have been, you all were vibing, y'all were having a good time. You guys are mutually at the same level of attractiveness.
Yes.
And it could have been chill.
Right.
He might have saw you and be like, oh, wow. But like when he is expecting Megan Fox and he gets you who does not look like Megan Fox.
It's just, there's going to be a disappointment there.
Rough.
Yeah. It's
rough. Honestly,
she's
I would be just
already
like Jimmy though. That's the crazy thing.
No, but that's the thing too. She's already like clearly such an insecure girl. Like, her when they go home, when they're past, like when they leave Dominican Republic and they go, and she's constantly asking him for validating questions, like affirm me. What did you think of me? Am I pretty?
Disappointment that he's just not in it, and you can immediately tell. Ooh,
He treats her like one of the friends. He literally talks to her and treats her as if she's one of the girlfriends, which is probably why he was venting to her about Jessica, because he's treating her like one of his girl space friends,
which is rough.
Yeah,
super rough. Especially, I don't even know if I want to touch this in this podcast right now. I don't know if it's necessary, but like the whole AD. How she's like the picture perfect spitting image of everything that most men find attractive.
Yes,
and she like knows how to work it and flaunt it and
she's
command
so like
space.
Smart and like stunning. Like
rough.
I love her. She has such a great personality.
And then the way Jimmy was interacting with homegirl,
spinning her, doing all.
That's
the way that he was looking at her. Those eyes.
I mean,
sir.
The reason why I don't really want to like go into it is because of how everyone was talking about black women and association for that shit.
It was right.
I get it, but like, doesn't need to be there. Oh no, I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna touch that right now.
She clearly was very uncomfortable with how people were so focused on her body that night.
But damn,
yeah,
I get it.
She got that body
and like to the point where the premise of the show, Love is Blind, you're seeing these people for the first time,
right?
And then you have these people setting false expectations of what they look like,
right?
And then you finally get. It's like relief plus beauty plus all
she
this
has
stuff.
Like she has a great
rough,
totally.
Man.
Totally.
Rough. Poor girls.
Such a good show.
Why would you even want to like do that to yourself if you know damn well. You see, this is the thing. This is the thing.
Well,
like,
but that's also the thing, though, is I feel kind of bad because even when she was saying it, she was like, "It's only because like I have like dark hair and blue eyes," and like she's like, "That's the only reason."
trying to qualify it.
Yeah,
shit.
and like I totally understand what she means. That's the thing, is I totally understand.
That's the thing.
I will stand by her on that. Like, I understand what you were trying to do, girl.
It's a wild
I understand
thing
what you
to
mean.
say because you know damn well you look at yourself every damn day in the mirror. You know what you look like.
Yes.
I don't care what people tell you. I don't care the similarities you can draw. You're
have you ever gotten
reaching.
compared to a celebrity though that you know you do not look like?
No.
But like
Kanye West, maybe that's the most egregious example.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of white people say I look like a lot of black people.
Yeah.
Whatever. I do not the error of repeating that shit to people.
No, 100%.
That is between me and whoever said it. And I'm like, haha,
Right.
awkward. I don't look like that.
Like, I'm not
but
going
whatever.
to use that. Yeah.
But like, I'm not gonna. What do you mean? And you know why
especially
she
on a
used that.
show when you're
Like, you know why? Like, she said Megan Fox for a reason. That's not an accident. And you know damn well. It's like me if oh yeah, I look like Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
I don't care if people fucking told me that shit. I don't care. That's a crazy thing to say,
Right.
bro. You know what you
Right.
look like. Like,
You
what do
know
you
what you
mean?
look
You know, you see yourself every damn day. You're over here
Yes.
talking about, yeah, bro. Like, low key, a lot of people be telling me I look like Michael B.
Yeah.
Really, really, bro. There was a guy like that on fucking TikTok that
Really?
was saying, like, he was like, oh, it's like me and my twin, I'm go best friend. He did that
Oh
for
my
Michael
God.
B. Jordan.
Yeah,
And
he
the
said
internet
twin
gave
him.
him what he deserved because that thing was crazy. You like
said
discount
twin.
Michael B. Jordan. Like, you look like Wish Michael B.
my
Jordan. That's
God.
what he looked like.
Oh,
and I would
no.
never do that to myself.
Right.
Not in media.
Right.
Not on public television.
Right.
Maybe I might do that at the bar, at the club, somewhere that it will not be televised and mass distributed for
Mass
people to look at it. Like, that is crazy.
Oh my God.
Shoot down.
Yeah.
Shoot down.
Yeah.
Megan Fox is not the one.
Right.
Anyone else? Who could she have said? That
I
would have
just-
been
I just think she
Adele.
should-
Adele is beautiful.
Yeah.
She looks like Adele. That would have been perfect.
I think that anyone should, whoever will in the future go on this show, take notes from AD with how she stood like 2 toes down.
Stood on business.
Yeah, stood on business of like, I'm not, and she like very much because she does like have a very pretty face, very pretty body, very cute body. Like, she could have very much said like what her appearance looked like and
Given Rihanna,
given exactly
given Beyonce.
right, like, and could have very easily expectations met, but she was like, nope, not gonna do it, not gonna do it at all.
Keep that
and
shit
it's
to
just better to
yourself.
just let the person see you, especially on a show like this. It's wild.
And truly, as far as attraction psychology goes, you have more of a chance of them falling for you if you don't give them an impression of what you look like.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
you know, she just played the game wrong. She
Yeah.
lost. It's
Yeah.
fine. Whatever.
Yeah.
That being also said, did you hear about the freaking girl that got on stage with Omalay?
Oh my God. Yeah. So people were like, she ruined her whole, and people for Omalay, because I hear
Of all the people, that is not the guy to ruin your relationship for.
No.
They weren't dating for 7 years.
okay.
It was
How-
less than
what
a
was
year.
the-
Less than a year
Gotcha.
relationship. She bought the tickets.
Okay.
It wasn't like that. They made it way more dramatic. The
Okay.
rumors got way more dramatic than it actually was.
Got you.
But regardless,
Yeah.
the optics of that
his
situation.
face too, when he was. Oh, I saw the war, internal war that was going on. He's trying to like, oh,
It's like you want your
Can't
girl to
even
have
imagine.
fun.
yeah,
But also, like we were saying, things that you just don't do
yeah,
in relationships.
Yeah.
Like there's just things that you just should not be
Right.
doing. And sure, go on stage, have your little moment.
Yeah.
But like
to let it go that
awareness, your self-awareness is
Yeah.
just not there. And it's
Yeah.
so funny because I feel like, not to make this like super gender, like I'm not trying to like feed a gender war with this. Like I'm really not.
far. Okay.
But I feel like, because she came out the other day, I think like yesterday or the day before, with like an apology video talking about like, oh, like, I'm really sorry to the dude. I shouldn't have done that to him. I'm really sorry to like my blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I don't think you're sorry. She didn't seem sorry.
Yeah.
And I don't think she would ever like come out and try to apologize. she didn't get so much backlash from the internet.
No, 100%.
Right? Because she was totally like,
she was in that. She was in that.
That was a choice. That's an active choice that you're actively making in that moment. Like, really? Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah.
That's a choice. A crazy choice. When you have a whole man, a good-looking man, a tall man, a man that people would want.
100%.
Hey, she's fine too, so I get it.
Right.
When you feel like you have options. But still, like, damn. Now you're like, she made herself relatively undateable.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
Because no one that is going to be worth wanting her after all this shit is going to want her. Now she has all the omelees.
Did they break up? Do you know?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. They are not together. That guy, Kai Cenat, he's so freaking quick.
Yeah.
This dude had him on a dating show.
Really?
20 versus 1. So we got 20 girls together and they're like doing this little speed dating situation.
That's hilarious.
So yeah, the relationship is definitely over. And even if like it didn't bother him in the moment, with the internet backlash, you would have to end that relationship.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to keep dating
the
that girl.
embarrassment. Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. The embarrassment
Like,
of it. That's hard.
Like, even if this didn't, like, honestly, I don't really care too much because it's omele, whatever. But like now it seems now there's an image of what it means to still be with you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like, do you respect yourself?
Right. And like these are questions that you don't really need to answer.
Yeah.
That being said, your relationship is your relationship. You gotta kind of have to do what you gotta do. If you really like this girl, blah blah blah, whatever. Me personally, I couldn't do that.
I, for some reason, I'm not like upset by it horribly, but like there's just like a thing for like to be said about regular ass people going online and making an apology statement.
Like, who are you? We don't care.
Right. Just let it, you know what I mean? like you're.
I'm so sorry, guys. Who
why
are you?
Apologize to your man.
Right.
Stay off the internet. Clearly. Like,
that's so true.
Like, why are you apologizing to us?
Oh my god!
Like, I don't know. Like, I just wouldn't. Maybe she's trying to capitalize off this in some way.
That's the thing. So two things about this girl that her apology is crazy.
Yeah.
Right. So first of all, she's apologizing for the sole purpose of trying to salvage some semblance of an image that she can maintain.
Yeah.
Right. Because
that she's trying to build.
When Kai Cenat, same dude, tried to get this girl on his stream so we can hear her side of the story. Yeah. She was like, am I going to be financially compensated for this thing? And you're like,
I see.
You're not that girl. Like
she's like, this is my end to become an influencer.
Unfortunately, it's not.
Yeah,
she's trying. She's trying. And it's so crazy because you have so many people that do capitalize on controversy in a successful way. The Bad Baby. Honestly, most rappers.
Honestly,
most rappers. I mean, they have do Kim
have
Kardashian,
that down to an art form. Yeah,
right?
Yeah, the Kardashians for sure.
But like, there's something about this moment that isn't endearing in a way that doesn't let people be like, there's no through line that has us empathizing with the girl. She's clearly in the wrong. 100% so clearly in the wrong. It's a DaBaby situation. Like, bro, you did not have to talk about gay people. I don't care what you were like. You did not have to say anything about the gays. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, completely unprompted.
What are you doing? It's so unnecessary. Like, even whatever you said, so freaking unnecessary. This girl, this move, like what were you, the things you were doing on stage with Omele of all people, so unnecessary. Like, so unnecessary. Like, I can understand if it was like an Usher or like even a Trey Songz. Even a Trey Songz.
I'm there with you. I understand.
Chris Brown, you know, like some person with a clout with the energy.
People definitely would have had more understanding.
But Omele, you ruined your relationship for Omele. Oh man, you're crazy. So no one can empathize with that. No. So you're not gonna capitalize on
exactly.
Poor thing.
Oh gosh, but not poor thing. Like you said, active choice.
My sympathy is like, how sad is it for you to believe? It's kind of pathetic at this point.
I was gonna say pathetic for sure.
That's rough.
Now you're over here making apology videos or apology statements, whatever.
Rough, man. It's crazy. It's crazy out here in these streets. What else? Oh, Avatar: The Last Airbender just came out.
Yes, it did.
Do you want to talk about live actions really quick? Because we're just like we're on the coattails of the Percy Jackson series.
Yes.
And now we have this live action, two giant behemoth companies putting huge budget productions of things that are near and dear to the public's hearts, right? Yes. So what do you think about Percy Jackson? Let's talk about that for a second.
I overall enjoyed it.
Okay.
To be fair, I think so. A lot of the criticisms that I saw was obviously it didn't, the source material, it wasn't completely accurate. They obviously changed some things here and there. I'm always open to I always expect in adaptations there to be some changes to make sense on screen.
Right.
Also to, if it makes sense, especially this story was written so long ago, maybe homeboy, our homeboy Rick Riordan. How do you pronounce it? Riordan?
Riordan, yeah.
Saw things and was like, actually, this makes more sense, you know, et cetera, et
You
cetera.
can retcon shit. It's your story, whatever.
Exactly. It's your story. I overall I thought it was an enjoyable watch. I thought the actors were the characters.
Yeah.
And that was probably like the most important thing for me specifically. Like then the story, if there was tweaks and changes here and there, I was okay with it. I do think the pacing of the episodes was tough at some points. I didn't feel like I could really like get into the meat of it because it was kind of just like passing through.
Nothing felt significant.
Yeah.
Because we had to just move to the next thing.
Right. I wish some of the fighting scenes were a little bit more intense than they were.
Yeah, freaking that last him versus Ares. Why was that thing a minute and a half long?
Yeah,
it felt so underwhelming.
Yeah, pretty much all of the fight scenes. A good majority of them felt pretty underwhelming. So I don't. But also, it's technically a children's show. So I'm like, am I just watching it through the eyes of an adult? I'm not sure. Because also then when I look at Avatar: The Last Airbender, the fight scenes there, I'm enjoying so thoroughly the fight scenes.
Avatar: The Last Airbender is visually one of the most stunning things I've seen.
Loving it.
Just in general. Yeah. Like it's just really nice to look at.
Totally.
And that's where my compliments stop.
Yeah.
That's where my and this is so hard because I feel like a lot of it is bias because I love the original show.
Yeah.
I will die for the original show. I obsess over
wow.
Oh man, I love me some Avatar. Y'all don't understand how many times I've seen this show. I'm rewatching it right now because why not?
Why not?
When that thing came on Netflix for the first time, I was on cloud 9.
Yeah.
I was a happy boy.
Totally.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will agree with me. One of the best written stories, self-contained stories of our lifetime.
Yeah.
Second only maybe to One Piece, but One Piece isn't over. So we don't know how that shit's going to end.
Yeah.
That being said, I'm open to changes. I actually encourage changes.
Totally.
Because it's a cartoon, first of all. It's not going to be a one-to-one recreation.
100%.
And maybe this is a byproduct of the Writers Guild and the strikes and all the stuff that's going on. But the writing in these shows is just so weak.
Yeah.
It is so weak.
Yeah.
And it's even more like Percy Jackson, I will give it some time. These are kids. It's like they're starting out. The franchise is clearly going to be like a
and there definitely were like
thing.
Moments in Percy. Like I think it was the 4th episode when they go through the I forget the god's name, but they go through the water park.
What's his name? Not Vulcan. The Greek version of Vulcan. His name Hephaestus.
Yes, exactly. When they do that whole thing, when he sits in the chair, like that. Honestly, that was probably my favorite episode of the whole. I thought the acting was so great. I thought the dialogue between the Annabeth and Percy was incredible. Like the tension was there. I wanted to cry.
Wow.
Like it was very it was especially like that scene. Like it was there for me. Like I was like that was like the sweet spot. They got it right in that moment for me. And then kind of everything else was then kind of everything else was kind of But I do wonder, I'm like, is it because it's a children's show, technically? Are they writing for children?
The bias for this being a children's show, 75% of the people that watch it, out of the millions of people that watch it, are our age. Yeah. These are the people that grew up with the book.
Right.
This is who the show is for.
Right.
So to have the premise that, this is a children's show, so the writing doesn't have to be as profound or deep or anything.
No, you're right. Yeah.
It's kind of lazy writing because Avatar actually designed for children. why do we
Incredible
still like
writing.
it right now? Why does it still hit the same way?
Yeah.
10, 12, 15 years later?
Very true.
Because the writing is good and it's aimed up. It doesn't
Yeah.
talk down to children.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for Percy Jackson, I don't think it's really that crazy because it had good moments, like you were saying.
Yeah.
And I really like the Aries Grover thing. That was a series only thing that wasn't in the book.
Yeah. No, I
And
love that addition.
you can really see that these are great actors.
Yes.
They just didn't have good material to work with.
Totally. Because when they did, it was great. Yeah.
It was so great.
Yeah.
And I think it's just the limitation of. So what I think about Avatar and what I think about Percy Jackson are kind of the opposite. So they were trying to stick too aggressively to the source material.
Percy Jackson.
Because you have, Percy Jackson, because Percy Jackson's author was there guiding the thing. And he is very vocal about how much he hates the movies that were made for it. And he was trying to make this like the opposite. Like he was trying to make this as close to the books as possible.
Yeah.
Very book accurate, very close.
Yeah.
But in that, they restricted what
Yeah.
the show could have been
Right.
by utilizing the chemistry of the actors, the intrigue of what it means to watch it live action,
Yeah.
and the big ass budget that Disney has. Like $15 million an episode is crazy. They could have done so much more
And those fight scenes
pasted.
were that?
So, yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. And then they didn't leave anything to interpretation. Everything was told. There was so much exposition.
Yeah.
So much explaining. And I just like
They were-
show not tell type things, right? If you're gonna have this thing, it's a show for a reason.
Right.
Stop telling me everything.
Right.
And it's like
Right.
they're saying it because they want it's like, oh, we read the book, so we know that this is supposed to be in here. It's like, cool. But we read the books and
Right.
we're watching the freaking show. We want to
Right.
see it happening. Because
Totally.
we already read it. Don't
Yeah.
tell me. It's not an audio book. Come on.
Yeah.
Now for Avatar, The Last Airbender.
Oh my gosh.
Again,
Yes.
open for the changes, willing and hoping that things were cool.
Yes.
The first scene, Sozin's like advent into the airbenders getting burned and stuff. You get
Yeah.
to see people get burned alive by fire.
Yeah.
Crazy, intense,
Wild.
lovely. I love where they were going.
Yes.
Everything was wrong,
Yeah.
Renee. Everything was so wrong. Everything was just so wrong from the characterization of the characters. You know, I had to rewatch the series because I was just so baffled.
Yeah. You're like, what?
What happened?
What's going on?
Aang didn't laugh maybe like 3 times throughout the entire show. They made him emo, which is a choice, but we already have the angstiness of Katara, the
Yeah.
angstiness of Zuko, the angstiness of freaking everyone else.
Right.
Aang is like such a breath of fresh air in the sense that he breath of fresh air, cute.
Yeah, no,
in
literally.
the sense that he is like he's angsty, he's traumatized, sure,
Yeah.
but he's goofy.
Yeah,
he's
very
lovely.
goofy.
He's like this crazy hyperactive energy because he's a 12-year-old
Right.
who's like can barely cope with the trauma that he is
Right.
having. So he outsources it to fun and games and all this stuff.
Yes.
This dude was talking about, I'm the Avatar and I have to resist my responsibility as a blah. I was like, bro, shut up.
Oh my God.
Please. Like, I don't care. I
Yeah.
don't freaking care.
Yeah.
Freaking Azula. The most badass character of all fiction, hands down. No hold, like, no.
Yeah.
Immediately the most badass ever. Ever. For a 14-year-old, that is crazy.
Right.
Who is this pathetic
I was,
angsty
I
teen?
literally was like, is it just me or is it's just like weak?
It's weak.
It's just like
giving
everything.
weak.
Yeah. It was just
Azula
not.
was the most calm,
Yes.
strategic,
Yes.
strong, calculating individual
Yeah.
on the planet.
Right.
She only showed emotion on that last episode where she was going through
Yes.
it. And
Yes.
that last moment held so much more weight.
Yep.
Because you could see like the pressure that a 14-year-old is crumbling under when things are starting to go out of her control.
Right.
But it was because she was so controlled before then.
Yes.
But this girl is screaming and being catty and being petty and is really obsessed with Zuko for some reason.
Yeah.
Like that's just not the thing.
That's not what it was.
That's just not the thing.
Yeah.
And like it's a change, but the change has to make sense in relation to the original thing. And that's
Right.
what what the recreation is.
Yeah.
Make your changes, but make your changes in relation to what the source material was,
Right,
or
right.
make the change make sense within the context of the story.
Right.
That change made no sense in the
Right.
context of the story.
Because that was a huge part of her character
Exactly.
arc as
Aang's goofiness, part of the story. Sokka's jokes and sexism,
yeah.
also part of the story.
Right. No, I literally saw someone say like, what? Like they made some comment towards that. Like, when did Sokka become a feminist?
Right.
Like,
Right. What's the point of him having to even learn from
well,
Suki?
I feel like a part of that is just like
The modern
day,
climate.
people
Sure. They're
don't
like trying to
wanna-
avoid controversy.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Or even
It's
like
self-contained. That's the thing. The resolution, the girl power
Yeah.
moment is self-contained in the story. So
Right.
his sexism,
yes.
sexist? Wow. Is it sexism?
Yes, it's sexism.
Oh, it sounds so wrong to me. I don't know why. It sounds so incorrect. But him being sexist is a plot point.
Yes, exactly.
And Suki gets so much more like credit for one, falling for him, and
Yeah.
two, proving that like, fuck off, dude. Like,
Yeah.
girls actually have strength and blah, blah, blah. And
Right.
him being humbled and learning and all this stuff.
Important part
Character
of his.
development, you know? And then also, it's a very important dynamic for him and Katara too, because Katara is also very girl power.
Yeah.
And half the reason why she's always angsty about it is because he's so sexist to his sister, which is
Yeah.
fine. But like, they took away the sexism.
Yeah.
They took away his jokes. They took away Katara's angstiness, her motherness, her nagginess.
I forgot how like I realized I was like she had so much more attitude.
Yeah,
and,
she
like,
was so attitudinal.
Yeah.
They took all that. She's so agreeable now, which is
Yeah.
like cool, but then it doesn't make any sense why she's fighting the dude in the north because like she was attitudinal and mad that she was being ignored because she was a girl.
Right.
And she was powerful. And
Yeah.
why did we not see Katara learn how to waterbend throughout the entire arc of the show? All of a sudden
Yeah.
she could do all these things in the north.
Yeah.
Aang didn't learn waterbending in the North Pole, by the way.
Yeah.
He just started doing all this crazy stuff. There's all these things, right? Just
Yeah.
like they put all these, they jam-packed all these things in the same episode. They have like,
Yeah.
Omashu, the mechanist,
Right,
the
yeah.
freaking jet, which is like, I don't mind that per se because they all kind of make sense.
Yeah.
But they didn't handle them all well.
Yeah,
Because they
it
tried to do
didn't-
too much
it didn't-
at once.
seamlessly. Yeah.
And I'm like, oh man, it looks great.
No, it looks beautiful.
Zuko's arc and Zuko's characterization and Zuko's everything I thought was super on point.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
They got that
possible.
right. They got that right.
It's possible. And you have the source material so you know what it's supposed to be. Why is everything else crazy?
Yeah.
Why'd you put Wang Shi Tong in the 4th episode? That pissed me off. That's like one of my favorite characters. And you know what? Like, not only did you put him in the 4th episode, but
Yeah.
he didn't say, I am Wang Shi Tong,
Yeah.
he who knows 10,000 things. Like, what?
Pissed.
I'm so angry.
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
so angry because it could have been so much better.
Yeah.
Because I think the things that I'm complaining about are easily fixed.
Easily fixed because they, like you were saying, they had like the visual like aspect of
So
it
good.
incredible.
So good. Now,
the-
that's how you put your budget to use.
Right. No, they were really putting their budget to use in very good ways. Like I said, the fighting scenes, I really like. I thought they were really good. Like, but it was these small things that are become so important later on.
If you want to make this like a whole thing,
right, you have to
need
plant
have
these seeds.
things.
Yeah.
And like truly, after rewatching the show, I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that like you do not have to put in.
Totally.
Like them going through the Great Divide and stuff like that. Unnecessary little episode.
Yeah.
All this stuff.
Yeah, there was definitely like filler episodes that, I mean, like given how it was structured,
Right.
like it's very different structure. So I get it. That's fine. But
I could complain about this for the next
Yeah.
hour, but it's just like the essence of the show is lost.
no, I found myself getting pretty bored because I didn't even realize in the moment until you said it. Yeah, the writing was very like, I don't really know how to describe it. I honestly didn't really watch it past the 4th episode.
It was soulless.
I really tuned out. Like, and it was the same thing. Like the first episode, like when we started getting into it, I was like really excited.
I was like, damn,
I was like, oh my
okay,
god, this is gonna be so
okay.
good.
Nah.
And then it just fell flat as it went on.
And then when freaking Grand started speaking the intro out of nowhere, I was like, what the heck?
Yeah, it was just
what the heck?
like, I see what you were trying to do, and that could have been a moment.
It could have been a moment.
but you didn't.
But you didn't lead up to it in a way that made sense.
Yeah.
Just like all of a sudden, water,
Yeah.
earth, fire, air. Like, bitch, what? Are you, Grand, you good?
Someone said, like, why did they make Grand make she had like dementia? Like,
no, that's what it seemed
like. She was not. That's not what she was. She was this very wise.
Water, earth.
Yeah.
Are you okay, Granny? Jesus Christ.
Oh gosh,
so crazy to me.
Disappointing. I mean, I always expect. I've been a book reader my whole life.
Never have gotten a good adaptation.
I am just so used to adaptation disappointment.
Was Harry Potter disappointing?
I was not a Harry Potter person. Also, Harry Potter came out before I was born. No. The books came out before I was born. The movies.
Not like that, Renee. Come on.
I'm just saying.
You're
like
98.
Huh?
You're 98.
I know I'm 98.
The books aren't that old. You're thinking like Lord of the Rings type shit.
No, the books. I'm looking it up right now.
Right the fuck now.
The books are old. It's the show
Not
or the
early
movies.
90s. You're
Books.
Nah, that has to be 2000. You're kidding.
Okay, 97 was the first one.
All right,
so
well, you're not wrong.
So it was before I was born.
The first one came out before you, but everything else.
The Deathly Hallows came out in 2007.
I am not that old.
I was like, I could have sworn.
I was like, really?
Harry Potter wasn't one for me. I was not allowed to read Harry Potter.
Me neither. Oh my God, Christian parents.
Woo! Oh my gosh.
They really hated that wizardry, man.
No,
that
they
witchcraft
hated
is
that
crazy.
that
Which is funny because like what they allowed me to watch versus
Yeah.
what I couldn't. Like,
No, for real.
y'all
For
really,
real.
y'all just you all saw
They
Harry
were picking
Potter.
and choosing.
It's
They
crazy.
were picking and
They saw
choosing.
the broomstick and they're like, no, that's witches. Like,
No, for real.
but I was over here watching. You know what? Whatever.
Yeah, it's
okay.
fine. It's fine. But yeah, I'm used to disappointment to the point where it's like
Damn.
when I
That
see
sentence,
I know.
Woo, okay, for sure.
To the point where I manage my expectations when I see adaptations. I always do. One adaptation that I overall did thoroughly and really enjoy the movies, Hunger Games. I think I overall, granted, when I watched the movies and I read the books, I was pretty young for both. So I can't really remember exactly like the critiques, but overall, and I recently watched the first movie, the first Hunger Games. I was in that. Oh, it was so good to me.
Hunger Games just had like a little renaissance lately. And because the new
the
movie
new,
came out.
Yeah.
But they added them on Netflix and I rewatched the entire thing.
Yeah.
They're good.
They're good. Yeah.
They're good.
I thought the Divergent series overall, the last movie was not it.
See what Divergent is versus what Hunger Games is.
Oh, so different.
Embarrassing.
So different. But look, I'm a Theo James stan till I die.
See, now that's another person people were telling me I look like, and I was like, for sure.
Wait, Theo
James.
who's not black?
Yeah, exactly. exactly.
I get all the time, like people will say I look like someone who's not black or not mixed. They're like, you just have like the same face, but you look nothing. I know. I'm sorry, Jem, you are an attractive man.
Hey man, I'm not offended. I understand.
You look
understand.
Nothing. When I cannot express how much
emphasize enough
how much you do
unlike
not.
this man you look. You know who
So
I actually
unlike.
like that people say look like the dude from Bridgerton.
Oh, okay. I could see that.
Yeah.
I can
was
see the vibe.
I fucks with that vision. Everything else.
For some reason, right now, this could be like totally off base and totally wrong. So take this with a grain of salt.
Okay, I'm listening.
Zac Efron recently. You don't have like the
We
exact
just
same
gotta move on. We just gotta move on. That's crazy. We just gotta move.
I'm like, who has like
on.
the
We just
similar,
gotta
like,
move on. We
shape
just gotta move on. We just gotta move on. That has just been immortalized on our podcast, and we just gotta move on, girl. That. Hey yo, what were we even talking about?
Oh my,
Good
but do you
God.
also see what we mean earlier about the Love Is Blind? Like people will say you look like people, but you don't actually.
Nah. We just gotta move on.
Oh my God.
You gotta keep it right here. I'm saying we gotta move. We gotta go. That's crazy. I have never been pleased by adaptations either. But as technology increases and our modern iteration becomes what it is, money, technology, resources,
we have what we need.
Casting, directing, acting. These people can do these things.
Right.
It's just the direction.
Yes.
Tap me in, coach. It's my turn.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
I need to see. This is what we're doing. This is a platform for me.
Okay.
To start becoming a director, so I can finally give the people
what they need, what they want,
what they need,
what they've been asking for,
what I've been wanting, what I've been asking for.
Totally.
If Christopher Nolan can make masterpieces every time he hits the screen, y'all motherfuckers that have budgets bigger than him, not actually, but
still crazy budget,
look similar to his, should be able to execute.
Yeah, I know. I'm right. I agree. I totally agree.
So we'll see if I become a director so we can do these things justice. That being said, all those tangents.
Yes, there are so many things to talk about.
That being said, let's get into it. Cultivating playful energy in your relationships.
Ludus.
This is like we keep switching on the verbiage that we're using for this conversation, because honestly, I do think that the only way that adults can have fun in relationships is flirting.
Yeah.
Like that's like the umbrella term
even
for
like
how
even the playfulness is like
it's flirty.
It's flirty.
It's flirty. So for the listeners, if you guys are confused about what we're talking about at any point, just know everything that we say to describe what we're talking about is talking about the same thing.
Yeah.
We're just going to be flip-flopping
using
between
different adjectives.
Yeah. I'm not going to use Ludus at all, actually, because
it's flirty.
Yeah. Shut the fuck up. But flirting, seduction, playfulness, we're trying to articulate the same idea. That being said, we actually went to the people for this one.
Yes, we did.
Renee has some things. Or I feel like mine...
you asked like a more of like a poll, like array of questions.
I feel like we should start with that one.
Yeah.
Because we went to the story.
Yes, we went to our Instagrams.
We wanted to see what people were saying. So we're gonna go through these questions one by one, and then we're gonna answer them and talk about and discuss. Because I feel like that's what people want when they do the polls on our stories for the podcast.
Right, for us to then discuss them. Yes.
Damn, I want a quesadilla. My story actually gets a lot of
This is also like perfect, that style of posting for you, because you already, ever since I've known you, you've always done these polls.
I have.
Like Jem will, like I remember in college, like on your, and you like what, like on your personal Instagram, like not that many followers, but you would do like full blown like research,
like thought. Like the like thought experiments on the things with people, and I would phrase it in a way that could only be a yes or no thing, so people would be involved. And people they were so mad when I stopped doing that.
Yeah, I used to do it all the time. So this is like perfect on brand for you, for people that remember those days.
It's really good because again, I got a lot of people interacting with this stuff. There's like 60 to 100, 200 people like responding to these things.
Hell yeah, so that's like a good sample.
It's a good sample size.
Yeah.
So quote, little tweet for you.
Yes.
Flirting is easy until it's the girl you really want or the guy you really want. Everyone can flirt until you have to flirt. Till you actually need to flirt.
Yeah.
Right? 92% of people, 65 people said that this is true.
Yes. I agree with that. And
yeah, I think I have to agree too. I think I have to agree. Wait, let me see. I'm trying to qualify my thing. And maybe because I've cultivated such a style of flirting that it's not dependent on whether or not I'm interested in a person.
Sure.
How I flirt and when I flirt and why I flirt has nothing to do with like trying to get a girl. So do I struggle flirting when I actually like a person? Do I even like people?
Well, that's the first question.
You know? You know? That's something else. I'm naturally pretty flirtatious. True or false for you?
I think that people think that, which is such a.
I think that was the next question.
I say that because I don't know if I was supposed to answer that, but I've been told at times. Actually, I've been told two things. Very opposite. I've been told that like, oh, you're being flirty, and I'm really just being like friendly. And I can be very excitable, so I'll like laugh and I'll like whatever. But it's like I'm just like engaged in the conversation and I'm like enjoying it. I've also been told that like I'm like not emoting enough. But that's also been in situations where I've actually liked the person. And so I completely shut down.
Can't let them know that I'm into them.
Not even trying to like not let them know. I think I'm being so emotive. So yeah.
I don't know what to say about that one.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. But like flirting over the phone, though, it's like, do you really need whatever?
Yeah.
that can be qualified.
Yeah.
I'm not going to try right now. 50-50 on that one.
Makes sense.
Most people would say that they're pretty naturally flirtatious. Other people don't say that.
Yeah.
I'm naturally flirtatious, but I flirt in a way that is very unique to me.
Yes.
I don't flirt in the Casanova media representation of like what it's like to like, hey girl, how you doing type shit.
Totally.
Because it doesn't work for me. I'm just not that guy.
Yeah.
People think I'm flirting when I'm not. True or false?
Yes.
Yeah.
That has happened before to me.
A lot of things, and mostly girls answered true for this.
Yeah.
Because literally, I'm
Well,
looking at
because
this.
guys are like, oh, I'm getting attention. Oh,
Yeah.
do you love me?
So I really do think it is the interpretation of what attention you're giving a man.
Yeah.
Whether or not that intention has intent. And there is something to say there are multiple types of flirting, right? So there is, like, if flirting is a spectrum, then you have people that just aren't flirting. You can tell, like, deadpan, they're not fun, they're boring. And then there's like people that flirt for friendly context. Like, a lot of things that you do for flirting can be platonic in the sense that you're cultivating like the playful energy, the attention, the like hyper attentiveness, the reactions to what they're saying. It doesn't have to be sexual per se.
Yeah.
But yeah, most men over here talk about like, nah, that's not true at all. And I honestly, like, maybe this is reaching, but I don't think most men know how to flirt really.
Yeah.
Like, what does it even look like for a man to flirt if it's not this overbearing, type shit?
It's not though.
But like, that's the only thing that comes to mind.
I feel like it's one of those things where I can imagine what it is, but I can't like. And I think a lot of it has to, I don't know.
It's funny because I'm a man who flirts and I can't even imagine what it is.
Right. Like I can,
crazy.
well, like I can see it, but I can't describe it. It's hard for me to describe.
Try to describe it just for shits and giggles. Why not?
I literally
nothing,
don't.
no words, anything.
I don't know because I think a lot of it is like an energy. I think a lot of like flirting and that playfulness is a lot like you're exuding an energy because like there's like ways to do it, but also like the ways that you do it kind of even like with my question that I asked on my Instagram, like it very much was in line with these people's personalities as well, you know?
Interesting.
Yeah.
We'll definitely get into that. So this is now we get into the little psychological, the more intense question, right?
Okay.
Most human interaction involves some level of flirting. True or false?
Most human interaction involves some
macro type question.
So
what do you
every
think?
single person,
yes,
I flirt with them on some level.
On some level.
No. I'm gonna go with no.
Interesting. We got 100 votes for true.
Okay.
And less for false. It was a 60-30 split.
Okay, so most people were like, yeah. Is that just like in general, or
I think that's in general because you have to think about.
So you do agree?
I agree with that.
Okay.
I agree with that, and I also, if you want to take it a step further, I fail to see any male-female interaction that isn't flirting on some level. Why? Because if you come at it from the angle and from the perspective of fun and enjoyment and intrigue and playfulness, conversations and interactions are just more fun if you bring that energy to the conversations and the interactions.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be like the whole, and I think we'll get into this.
Yeah.
There's a type of flirting that has intent, a sexual intent to it. And that one's more physical and that one's more like seductive and more erotic.
Yeah.
But there's also just like the general flirting that comes with, how do I describe it? It's like, so we're having a conversation, you're reacting to something, you're talking about this thing, and instead of being like, oh, that's super cool that you like red cars, you're like, oh, so something, help me out, brain, you're right there. I realized as I was like preparing for this episode, getting examples of flirting is the most painful thing to do.
It's hard to like
It's hard
have
to
an
talk about.
example.
It's hard to talk
because
about.
it sounds cringy.
Yes, exactly. Like, I don't want to sound cringe, but like it's always out of context. It's the most cringy
right.
thing.
100%. If you're not feeling the vibes,
gross. But it's like you just add a little bit of intrigue to the conversation. So it's not just some blatant response like, oh, that's cool. It's like, oh, so like, where do you take that car? Or like, how about we like go for a ride sometime? Like those type of things don't have to be explicitly sexual.
Yeah.
They just make the conversation more fun. And as a person, or like the more you converse with people, the more you realize that you're naturally going to be doing those things in said conversations.
I just think that like flirting is playful, but playful isn't always flirty. And I just like, for me, it's like flirting does always have that like sexual like tension, like that seductive, like there's some sort of something of that, like that's behind it. If you're being like, I'm thinking like with like some of my girlfriends, my coworkers, yeah, we'll have like some great fun, like playful conversations.
Back and forth, little banter on them.
But I'm not trying to fuck them.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Right? What you just described is what I'm talking about.
I know what you're saying, but I just would not call that flirting.
Interesting.
That's why that's what I'm saying. It's playful. We're definitely having like a playful conversation, but I just wouldn't call it flirting. If I'm calling it flirting, it's because there is some sort of like sexual intrigue involved in that.
Interesting. So sexual intrigue versus sexual tension.
There may be sexual tension as well. But you're definitely maybe flirting because you're interested and you find them cute and you're being playful and you're nudge.
I think this might be better to put in the next episode, but I would argue that sexual tension exists between two sexually active people. Does that make sense? Versus sexual intent. Like, I want to fuck you versus like, I can fuck you. The can fuck you is tension.
Well, maybe you can fuck them, but you don't.
That's what I mean.
I don't know what you're saying right now. You're losing me. All I'm trying to say is that the reason why I said no to that question was because I'm not flirting with like my friend when we're having like a fun conversation. It's just a fun conversation. If I'm flirting with you, it's because I think
to have some intent.
It's because I'm attracted to you. There's like, I do want to fuck you. I'm like, there's that behind it. Like that's what flirting is to me. If I'm calling it, if you use the word,
it has to have intent behind it.
Yeah, that's why I'm using that word because that's what it means.
That word.
Otherwise, I'm using a different word.
What word?
Like as I'm saying, you can be playful, have a fun, playful conversation without it being flirting. But flirting is, I would argue, probably always playful. It has
to only be romantic coded. Interesting. 60% of people do not agree with you.
And you know what? I'm going to stand on business. I stand by what I said.
Which is fine.
I meant what I said.
Which is so fine. That's so interesting.
I think we have the English language. There are words for things. Flirting is what flirting is. Use a different word.
I have this conversation a lot with you. Words mean things. That's why they're the word.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right. Moving along so we don't get stuck on that little point.
Yes.
Flirting is mostly verbal or nonverbal.
Ooh.
Is that really that like?
No, I think it's like, I just didn't think about it. I think it's more verbal.
Interesting. That actually is really funny because the way that women have cultivated like seduction has been verbal versus the visual for men. So that's funny that you say that. At the same damn time, the flirting with intent that you're so advocating for, I think it has to be physical and nonverbal.
Well, I think it's I think it's like right there. I think it's like there's like a verbal and nonverbal component. But I'm gonna err on the side of like both, verbal.
But I'm gonna say nonverbal because you can seduce and flirt with a person without saying shit.
Totally.
And to that point, I don't think it necessarily matters what you're saying when you're flirting. It 100% matters how you're doing it, right?
Yeah.
A little touch on the arm, a little expression, a little eyebrow thing, a little wink. I suck at winking. Fuck, I'm so mad. That's the one thing.
Yeah.
I'm so bad at winking. I could never wink seductively. My one limitation in life is that, and I hate it.
That's your one limitation.
I hate it so much. But 60% of people said that it was nonverbal.
For sure.
And 30% of people said it was, or 40% of people, math.
Yeah.
40% of people said it was verbal. And then, of course, one of the people, can you tell when someone's flirting with you? And if you can, give me a little ratio for how accurate you are.
I can tell sometimes. I can't always tell. I definitely there are many a times that it has gone over my head, for sure. Where I just think we're just having a nice conversation. I just think we're having a nice conversation, and then all of a sudden, oh my God, I had this situation happen to me.
My.
Obviously, like while I'm in my current relationship, I was at work, and this person who comes into work often, I thought he was just a friendly dude. Come in, he was kind of annoying because he would want to talk a lot, but I just thought he was just coming in for conversation, whatever. And then one day he like pulls out trying to ask me out, and I was like, oh, I'm actually have a boyfriend and I'll actually be with him tonight, because he was like, oh, do you want to like go do something tonight or something like
I'm
that?
actually gonna be with my boyfriend.
I was like, I'm actually gonna be with my boyfriend, thank you. But I was so upset. Well, not really. It was fine. Whatever. I didn't care about the man, but I was just like, oh, I like literally went over my head that this entire time you were like, and granted, he still comes in here. He wasn't going into the store for me, but
he doesn't converse with you as much.
Oh, I leave when
you don't converse with him at all.
I leave.
Oh my!
I walk. My coworkers know because it got to a point where like I just find him so incredibly annoying. Sorry, this is a thing. If you worked in retail, you know, someone that comes in, takes up all of your time trying to talk to you about themselves for God knows how long, and never buys a single thing from the store. So I'm sitting here, and I'm like, there's no benefit to have you as a customer. You are literally just taking up time where I could be helping people who are going to purchase things today. So I don't want to talk to you. You also creeped me out because you asked me out. So I'm going to leave the sales floor. I will literally leave the floor.
Oh my God. There's so much to unpack with that, but I understand.
I can't even deal. It annoys me. It annoys me to no end.
That's so crazy. I feel like people try to flirt with you a lot, first of all. So I think that, or I would assume, I would thought, that you wouldn't be able to tell very easily.
I would be able to tell? Look,
ignorance is bliss.
I guess so. I definitely have been able to. It's not that I'm completely ignorant. I can definitely, especially now, I can tell more than I used to be able to when someone's like trying to be flirty with me.
Is that a progression from your relationship or just
probably a little bit, but I think also just overall like awareness.
Interesting.
But there's still moments where I'm just like, I don't realize it. Because I think what happens is if you get me in a good conversation where I'm enjoying the conversation, then I'm like, oh, we're just having like a really good conversation.
Then we're going to have to really talk about when does that line get crossed between a good conversation and flirtation. I think that could make sense in the context of relationships and not relationships.
Yeah.
But just out of curiosity, 80% of people cannot tell, which I think is crazy numbers. Think about that. Think about that. Think about that. Think about that.
Think about that. Okay, I'm thinking. Jeez.
But it's just like, those numbers are insane. 50% of people are naturally flirtatious.
Yes.
Most people think most people are flirting.
Yes.
Based on these numbers.
Right.
80% of people can't tell when a person's flirting with them.
I think that is just people not wanting to assume that someone's flirting with them. I don't know. I at least I hear from like a lot of like guys where they're like, is she flirting with me? I can't really tell. I don't want to assume, because then if I like cross my mind, she's not flirting with me, then I just made things weird. And I don't want to creep her out. And like, there's that whole thing.
Wow, that was a path for sure.
A path a lot of guys experience.
I'm dead because like you did it so accurately. Oh. Like she's like, why do you know that so well?
I don't know.
I'm so fucking funny.
I've just heard so many people talk about it.
Oh, but 20% of people can tell. Honestly, I think it just has to do with how much social anxiety most people have.
Yeah.
Because most people are in their heads. And if you get out of your head and you're interacting with a person face to face, it's very easy to tell.
Yeah.
And if you want to know how to tell, then you're going to have to like try your best to make some reference to eroticism or sexuality and see how they respond to it.
Yeah.
If it makes them uncomfortable, they were not flirting with you.
They were not.
But if they like hype, they get hype on that energy. Got news for you, bucko.
She's into it. Oh, yeah. Were those all your questions?
Those are all mine, yeah.
For sure.
I just find it like the numbers. This is why I like doing these type of polls because
the
the
polls are
numbers
good.
The numbers are weird. The numbers are weird. Like people are so strange. Like how can you be naturally flirtatious and everyone thinks people think like they're flirting with them when you're really not.
Yeah.
But then you can't tell when someone's flirting with you.
Well, it's the difference of like being able to like you being asked about yourself and then being asked about how other people may interact with you. So you're going to downplay or like underplay just in case people don't flirt with you. You're going to underplay that and you're going to maybe more accurately or like your like own like perception of yourself.
This is why I just expand the definition of flirting, man. Because if you switch it between like sexual and non-sexual flirting, then the accuracy just goes up. You just have to tell the difference of like, is this one of those type of interactions or is it one of these type of interactions? I don't know.
I hear you.
But your guy, your thing, your situation.
Yeah. Honestly, people didn't give like there were some good answers in here or just like ones that like honestly like are typical ones that I think
What was the question?
we all could have come to, but it just kind of confirmed what I already thought. How do people kind of tend to flirt, like the ways in which they do it? The question I asked it was an open-ended question people could type, was what's your favorite way to flirt? How do you like to approach flirting? There were a lot of people who said eye contact, which I like, yeah, obviously, but I think too like girls, because it was girls who said this. I think with that, like that is like just like it's just like a tried and true way of flirting. When you're at a bar and you find some guy attractive, you make eye contact and then you keep making eye contact so they know to come and approach you. And if they don't approach you, then maybe he wasn't too interested. And that's kind of like a way that I think a good way, especially if you're like don't know like how to like approach a person or how do you like make someone know that you're interested, whatever. That's a very like easy way to like warm up and practice and get yourself to be comfortable with like flirting, I guess. You know, you don't have to, that doesn't really require you to like, granted when they come over, you have to have a conversation, but like the interest is shown, you know what I mean?
Right. Oh man, that's so funny to me because I'm just thinking about how women shoot their shot, basically.
Oh my god, yeah, it's very.
She left home angry. I looked at him 4 times. He didn't
approach me, and he didn't even approach me.
Honestly, not going to go into the culture war on that one.
Yeah,
I think it's so interesting because eye contact in and of itself is just so.
But it's like it's a persistent eye contact.
So if a person looks at you multiple times, isn't there like a quality?
I will. This is the thing though. I will avoid eye contact at all costs when I'm at like bars and stuff like that, especially without Matt, and especially with men, right? Because like eye contact means a lot. When you keep making eye contact with someone, it means something. Especially like in like I mean, it's not like rude to like make eye contact with someone. But like you tend to just not stare at people over and over again. There's assumptions that are made. So if you are consistently making eye contact, that's sending some sort of message. What message? I don't know. But like when you're at like in terms of the context, you're at a bar, that's where people go. They want to meet people. They want to hook up, etc. Consistently making eye contact with someone, that's sending a message.
But is there a type of eye contact? Maybe you're not the one to ask. I would have to ask a guy because that's not how if you approach people in bars, I'm like approaching people, I'm not necessarily waiting for like that type of signal.
I'm not saying you have to. I'm just saying.
No, I'm not. That's the thing. But so like I don't eye contact. Well, I know it's a thing that's always said that it's used. Like, oh yeah, I flirt with eye contact, baby. I'm like, what does that really look like in practice?
Well, maybe it initiates. It opens up the door to like flirtation. It's like maybe a first step that someone can take if you're not getting cold approached, right, by a guy that you find attractive. Maybe it's like that's like a way to like signal that like come over, let's flirt, let's have a little chit chat, maybe a little smoochy woochy.
You know what? I'm just gonna move right along, girl. You're something else. God. Go off, Queen.
God.
Jesus Christ. What else are they saying? How else do they flirt?
On the other hand,
ugly ass words.
On the other hand, I do have friends who, one person, she said, by being bold and forward, which I've seen that so many times, where like I've gone out with girls who like will just straight up just like walk up to like the group of guys and just start chatting, and then obviously like keep her focus kind of on the guy that she likes. Maybe the whole group of girls goes up to the whole group of guys, and then kind of everyone starts to mingle. She starts mingling with the guy that she likes and then engage. And that's definitely such an extrovert, because the girls I see do this are so much more like extroverted for sure, and much more confident in like what they bring to the table. They kind of bring that kind of like bold, like fearless, like kind of like approach.
Fatale type vibe.
Maybe not entirely. It doesn't have to be. She's not trying to murder men. Like it's not like man eater, but like, but it's just like.
Why don't you jump straight to murder? Jesus Christ.
Oh, because I don't know. When I think femme fatale, I then go to man eater. And so I'm like, we're not trying to like,
kill these people.
We're not trying to like eat these men. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's,
oh man.
But yeah, so that being another way. But also, like I said, I feel like a lot of these things. So another one of my friends, she said, just to not. LOL.
I don't flirt with that.
I just don't flirt.
No,
they come to me, and I'm like, you know what?
Fair enough.
This is so accurate to these people's personalities.
I can't be mad at that.
You know? And then I do have to give an honorable mention, because I thought this was really hilarious personally. And I laughed really hard when I saw this, but one person commented and said, by showing whole. And I just immediately thought of, you know how like cats walk around and they have like their tails up and their buttholes are just showing.
Dude, that shit, like, it should not bother me as much as it does, but that image is so revolting to me.
It's like, well, it's straight and direct to the point.
Oh my God. I'm glad we've evolved past these things, because you know what? We're not going to go in. That's a tangent we do not have to fulfill.
Hilarious.
But it's so interesting, because I'm like thinking about all the times that girls have approached me in bar situations and settings. I'm just like, you know, like what's happening in people's heads and how they think they're coming off, right?
Oh my God. I feel like this is a perfect moment for me to talk about my anecdotal story.
Sure.
I feel like I had a ton.
Wait, before you do that, let me finish my thought. Because like, it's so funny how people are coming off, or how they think they're coming off, versus how they actually come off. I'm like,
yeah,
maybe I have this narrative in my brain of what flirting looks like, right? Sure, there's bias there. But this, women that approach men at bars are so like loud and wrecking ball type and rambunctious. Yeah. So it's like, there's nothing inherently seductive or flirtatious about the way they do that. Like, what are you guys drinking? Oh my God, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, for sure. Like, but it's like, it's cute and it's fun. It's like, you don't hate that energy, but it's like, is that that flirting?
Right.
I don't know.
Definitely not, but also good for them for approaching people, right? It's like, it's not an easy thing to do, to approach complete strangers and
You're
like try and like cultivate, like it's not easy to do, and it takes practice really in order to like get good at it, you know. But no, speaking of like the way people think that they're coming across and how it actually comes across, I recently, settings still back at the store that I work at, there's another customer that comes in quite often. He buys stuff every so often, so I tolerate him. So he's a good customer. Yeah, gotcha. I tolerate his existence. Sweet guy. He has a great job. I don't know that he's a doctor, but he works in the medical field, makes really good money. Oh God. An attractive guy. He doesn't have like necessarily height on his side entirely, but he's like tall enough. Like there's a demographic. Like he's not so short, you know, where it's like
he's like average height, like my height.
He probably a little shorter than you. He's probably short. Yeah, he's shorter than you, but he's not like 5'4".
Gotcha.
Right. Good looking dude, great job, all these sorts of things. And he always comes in and he's always talking about like wanting to like date women, and like he always talks about his dating life.
Sure.
And he's always talking about like, you know, the nurse. He's like, I'll never date a nurse because like, you know, you can't date down. He was saying, like,
hey,
he's like
yo.
in a hospital, like with a hierarchy.
No,
he's like, if you're gonna date, you have to date up.
I get it, but good.
Oh, is that like an insult to nurses? I apologize.
No, not. Oh. I don't care about that.
Oh.
Dude, the medical industry insults nurses so aggressively. If you talk to medical people, they hate nurses. First of all,
but
that's neither here nor there.
Much.
Yeah, that's neither here nor there.
Okay.
My thing is that it's like that's just a wild thing to say.
Oh, he says a lot of wild things. He does say a lot of wild things. Yeah, for sure,
bro.
Anyways, so literally a couple days ago, he comes in, he's talking to us and whatnot. Not really talking to me, to be honest. And I leave, I come back and I see him talking because he has a dog. That's like why these people come into the store, because we have dog treats. And so they come with their dogs, they give a treat, and then we'll chat with them. He's talking to this woman, and she has a friend with her who also has a dog, who came in for treats, and their dogs are kind of like playing and like, you know, barking at one another, and they're having a conversation, and it seems like a cool conversation, whatever. But it's mainly about the dogs. She kind of walks away throughout the store, whatever, and he looks to my manager and is like, I think she's kind of cute, like blah, 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 you know? My manager says, my manager's telling him like, say something to her, like, ask her out. Like, you know, like kind of like encouraging, because he seems to be like, he comes in, he always like kind of acts like he's like really cool. But like,
he's not that guy.
But he's not.
Yeah.
But in a way that's like, if you just accepted yourself, you would be so much cooler. You know what I mean? He really tries to put on like a front. You can really tell. Anyways, she comes back down. He's kind of standing near the door, and she comes, because there's an upstairs. She comes down from the upstairs, and she walks, as she's walking out the door, he looks at her and he goes, "You have a man?" And she turns and she's like, whoa, like so aggressive.
Yeah.
So aggressive. And she was like, huh? And you know damn well she heard him.
Right.
She was trying to figure out.
The store heard him. Oh man.
No one else was in the store this time, thank God. Yeah. But like we did hear him. And she clearly was trying to figure out an answer. Like she was like, huh? Like trying to figure out what to say. And he was like, do you have a man? And she was like, yeah, I have a boyfriend. Walks away and leaves the store. And then he goes up to my manager and he was like, well, I tried, and then at one point he was like, I'm gonna be thinking about that all night. And he was like, and then he was like, just kidding. I'm not gonna think about it. It doesn't bother me at all.
You are.
And I was like, you are going. Yes, you are. Yes,
you're gonna be thinking about that for the rest of the week. And he's probably still thinking about it.
You're probably still
right
thinking
now.
about it. And it really was just a moment where it made me realize, like, people, and like I said, I will reiterate, it's so hard to approach a stranger who you find attractive in the wild and like turn that into a seamless, especially as a man, to make a woman comfortable enough to give you her information of any kind, right? Like that's just such a hard thing to do. And this is the thing, he's a harmless guy, and like seems like when I talk to him, seems like a relatively good dude,
and on paper high quality. And
on paper high quality, seems like he has good intentions. He literally, when I saw that, he does not know how to talk to women. He had a great opportunity when their dogs were playing and they were chatting and having a conversation to try and like cultivate, because that's the hard part, is you have to try in those moments to cultivate enough chemistry, right? To be playful, be flirty, know how to insert it without being too forward, to make it so that when you're like, hey, would love, like, I don't know, you have a good energy. Like, I don't know if like you have an Instagram. Like, I would love to like, this is the end or that, He had a great opportunity to like move that initial conversation into a place in which he could ask for her number, ask for her Instagram to maybe take her out on a date, but he didn't know how to take the conversation from our dogs are playing to you're cute and I want to ask you out. You know what I mean?
Which is why I want to challenge this idea, this resistance that you have, that I've noticed in the conversation. We never talked about this before.
Yeah.
But this is why I want to expand the definition of what flirting is.
Yeah.
Because if you put so much weight on flirting and these definitions, these roles, especially, oh my God. I was going to save this for the next, I keep saying that. There's just so much. This episode just so in my brain.
Yeah.
But people are so damn scared of their sexuality.
Yeah.
And they're so damn scared of their desire for things.
Yeah.
Why that is can be talked about. I don't think it really matters. But you wanna reduce the barriers to entry as much as possible.
Yeah.
And if you want this thing, right? So now you have this goal.
Yeah.
White picket fence, right? You want a relationship. Clearly this man wants a relationship.
No, he really does.
That's all he's talking
so
about.
like well-intentioned.
That already a goal that's outside of your control. So much pressure.
Yeah.
Right? And this dude, he's a nice guy. He's doing everything right. He is a desirable individual by all metrics of desirability. So now the societal pressure of why can't you get a person is added.
Yeah.
Then, like you said, how hard it is to approach a person just in general.
Yeah.
To then you want a positive response. So that's even more pressure. So how to guide and navigate the interaction so that you have a positive response. So you don't make them uncomfortable. So you can make them sexually interested so that you can actually get them to go on a date with you. That's the goal, right?
Right, to see whether it could actually be a thing.
And all that before you can even assess whether this person is worth having a long-term relationship. That's pounds and pounds and atmospheres worth of unnecessary pressure that has most people flirting like that. And I don't know if you could call that flirting to begin with, or just like opting not to even try because they psych themselves out so aggressively.
Yeah.
So the way I flirt and the way that flirting works for me is that I just made flirting an aspect of my personality. It's not necessarily an aspect of my character per se. I'm actually very adverse to people, as you may or may not know. I don't know. Apparently I'm an extrovert, but I don't like interacting with people. I like the idea of interacting with people.
Right.
Actually interacting with people stresses me out. But hey, what did I just say?
You've incorporated flirting.
Yes. I've incorporated flirting into my personality such that the conversationality of it and the way to flow interactions to a point where intent is possible becomes really easy. Because flirting, like I was saying before, looks a lot like fun conversation. There's really no difference between a really fun high energy conversation and a really fun high energy conversation with sexual intent. Optically, verbiagely, and basically everything but the physical and the intention are almost exactly the same. So why would you waste the time to make, or not waste the time, but why would you psych yourself out and stress yourself out making one thing matter so much more when they could both matter the exact same, and you're much more able to do a certain aspect of it. Friendly flirting, making conversations more interesting, making or adding a different element of your personality, a little more banter to a situation to make it more engaging. Those are all things to me that are the foundation of flirting. And then when you put the intent, like, oh, now I find this person attractive, and you add that with a confident demeanor and a like more touchy-feely proximity, closeness, all those things, then you get a dynamic that's sexually charged. But flirting in itself doesn't necessarily have to be sexually charged. Yes or no?
I mean, I like also, even with what you're saying right now, I think based off of personal experience, or even using this guy as an example, I even see the whole, like, I see it flipped as well, of like incorporating flirting into your personality. Rather, it's just having a personality, or having your personality being genuine and like who you are as like a person. And in that, like, you kind of naturally, like, the problem that I saw with this person was that, and I've noticed it even in past conversations I'd have with him, he is so unwilling and fighting so hard to be himself. He is just like so aggressively rejecting himself.
That's so
and
sad.
Like, no, it's really
That's
sad.
so sad.
You can tell when you speak with him. Like, even that comment where he was like, "I'm gonna be thinking about this all night." Ha, JK, no, I'm not. I don't care about women. Like, this goes off my shoulder. No, you're someone where this sort of thing does like matter to you.
Homie is in pain.
Yeah, like he's like just so unwilling to admit, like what we were saying in the confidence episode, admit to yourself who you really are.
You are, bro. You're
He's
not
like,
that guy.
He's so like aggressively like denying himself, and it's really unfortunate. It's not doing himself any favors in the dating space, because if he was maybe existing, and I found this for myself, that like when I think of like when I was single and I was like out and like flirting and whatnot, or like flirting with guys I was dating, what was I doing? And even the examples of the people that commented and what I know about them as people, it really aligns with just who I am as a person. I'm adding that extra level of like seduction, that extra level of like, what you were saying, like the eyes, the touch here, touch there at these moments, et cetera, et cetera. You're adding that certain level to then make it more flirty. But at the end of the day, I'm kind of just being myself. And I find that I have a natural chemistry with this person. So I'm able to then bring in that level. If he was able to be more himself in that moment, he was talking to his girl while their dogs are playing, he could maybe see whether they even had like a natural flirty banter to then like take it to that next level. Or she wouldn't have reciprocated that. And you could just walk away knowing she wasn't really...
With your dignity intact.
With your dignity intact. For sure. Exactly. But you could tell he just wasn't really being himself. He was thinking too hard about it. And what he was thinking about was, what would a confident guy say or do? Yeah. And his perception of what a confident guy would say or do versus what an actual confident guy would say or do are two completely different things, because they're individual. It's like it's specific to that person.
That's so crazy too. Because there's this thing that I was looking, as I was preparing for this episode, there's a guy. He's a psychologist who helps men like get out of their head. And it was like flirting 100%, seduction 100%. The difference between being flirtatious and being creepy is how much you are internally motivated. Yeah. So if you're completely encapsulated inside what is in your brain and what's happening, you're defeating the purpose of flirting, because flirting has to be externally motivated. You have to be completely obsessed and enamored with what's in front of you to the point that you want to put it, to the point where you want to put yourself in a position to explore what that is. Yeah. And people feel that. It's palpable. When a person like is so enamored by you, people love feeling that they're attractive to people. Totally. And if you have that mutuality, obviously, then flirtation is also like this, not necessarily a guarantee, but it's what's not a guarantee? It's like the suggestion of like this fun little moment that you guys, like this journey you guys can go on together. Totally. And I'm speaking from the male perspective. Women really love not having to think about whether their night is going to be fun or not. Right? So if you can like suggest that hanging out with you, and you're like, you can like, hang out with me, your night is going to be really interesting and really fun. You're more likely to get a girl to interact with you. Yeah. Versus if you're like, what do I have to do to be this flirtatious individual? Right. Hey girl, you got a man? You got a man. You got a man.
My heart broke in that moment when I heard it. I literally, oh my God.
So poor guy. That's kind of crazy.
I really do feel bad for him, like genuinely, because like I said, he's like on paper, he's got it going on. It's wild. It's wild indeed.
Wild indeed. Wild indeed. Poor people.
But like I said, that's why I think, I don't know. I think a lot of people can flirt and not really know who they are, so to speak, right? So maybe that's like probably completely inaccurate.
I feel like no one before the age of like 30
right be able to be flirt, right?
People before the age of 30 are definitely flirting.
Yeah. And they're definitely flirting.
Not well, probably.
But there's definitely like a certain level of like confidence. I don't know that because like, even like I said, I keep going back to that situation because it was like, there was clearly a lack of like confidence, like, or self-confidence. And you can be like, 21-year-old me was a very confident person. Did I know who I was as a person? No, but you can still be confident,
in what you have.
In what I have. I know what I was working with, and I worked with it accordingly.
Work the fuck out of that shit. Working to the bone, low key. Yeah. And confidence does have a lot to do with flirting, because you're putting up, going back to what I was saying before, flirting is bringing your personality to a situation.
Yeah.
If you're ashamed of who you actually are and you're trying to be something that you're not, you're not going to flirt well. You're not going to be genuine in that experience.
It's going to come across as like weird or disingenuous. Yeah.
Because you're trying to be something. Flirting isn't being something. It's not even really embodying something.
Yeah.
It's just at its very basic level. It's just approaching a person to have a conversation. And doing that in such a way that isn't awkward and isn't demanding. Like you don't necessarily want to receive anything from them. You are actually giving.
Yeah.
You're giving attention. You're giving intent. On its most extreme, you're giving desire.
Yes.
And it has to not be dependent on whether or not it's reciprocated.
Totally.
And that is flirting at its finest. Because it's for you in the sense that it's like, oh man, this is so hard to explain. It's for you in the sense that you are putting yourself out there in an attempt to enjoy yourself. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But it has to just like end there. And if it reciprocates, then that's just like icing on the cake.
Right.
But whether or not you participate in it can't be dependent on some outcome.
Yeah.
Because the outcome is outside of your control. And if you're worried about the outcome, then you're focusing on mostly trying to qualify and soothe some rejection that hasn't happened yet, basically.
Yeah.
And what's the point of doing that if you aren't even approaching people to be rejected?
Yeah. Yeah. Like for me, like there's always like some sort of like intent of like desire, as you had stated. I like that word better than like sexual. But there to me is like some like intent of desire behind that when you flirt. That's just like my opinion. Yeah.
So how does that translate to the playfulness in relationship?
In relationships.
Miss, I'm in a whole ass relationship for 2 years and I'm cultivating flirtation and playfulness with my mans. So let us know.
What?
I need answers.
What was the question again? Look, okay, because look,
how do you do it and why is it important? That's the question.
Okay. I mean, obviously, I think this is something that like we still like work at, right? I don't like, and it's also one of those things. Okay, I'm just trying to. I'm gonna make sure I'm not saying too much.
Different question. Flirting when you're dating and single in the world versus flirting in a relationship. How is that different in your opinion?
Oh, well, I mean, I guess like there has to be an aspect of like, there's an aspect where you do need to bring in like different ways to like come at your partner because you already know they desire you. You know, like that's like the assumption, right? You're together, you're in a relationship, you love one another, you're building a life together, etc. You know that they like you're having regular sex, you know, like so it's like you already know that they desire you. So you have to sometimes get a little bit more creative and sometimes more intentional about the ways in which, and maybe a combination of both, right? Of ways in which you like flirt and come at your partner, you know? So like I think like for me, like even when I was saying like in the New Year's episode of like I want to flirt with Matt more, for me it was genuinely just like actually being more playful in my relationship. Matt will agree with this. I'm glad he's not here because he would literally just go off about. He's just so much more playful than I am.
He is.
Confirm. Yeah, can confirm. He is a golden retriever, loves to play, and I'm just not the same. Like I'm just so much more just like kind of. I'm not.
Why? Is that kind just like a temperament thing?
I think it is a temperament thing. I'm also more introverted. So and he's very much included in my inner space at this point.
So does that like, introversion even really count at that point?
Well, for me, when I'm like by myself, I'm kind of just, I'm chilling. I really am just chilling. So when I'm with him and we're together days at a time where I'm just chilling. And
he wants to be a little silly goose. You're not goosing.
And I'm not goosing. I wasn't goosing. I goose a lot more.
She's goosing now. What? I'm confused. I thought I knew what was going on.
Hey,
but now I'm really confused.
Don't worry about it.
I made these words and these terms and now I don't know what they mean anymore.
Don't worry about it, sweetheart. Don't worry about it. Hey.
That's crazy. What just happened? Oh my gosh, he's goosing now. If you know what I mean. I don't. I really don't. But anyways, Jesus Christ.
But yeah, I think going back to like being more creative about like the way in which like there's something to be said about like Matt, like there's like you get into a relationship and like you kind of do, like I said, you already know you kind of desire one another. You do the usuals, like you're beautiful, you look great today, the usual compliments and the usual upliftings and stuff like that like, oh, I feel special, I feel cute, I feel good. But there's something to be said about every once in a while, like I don't know, like Matt just throwing out like just I am so into you right now, or just like something, just shifting it sometimes every once in a while, and in a way that's like, oh, like wow, like it feels like you're like really desiring me all over again in a new way. It feels very fresh.
Gotcha.
And I think how you make it fresh is coming at it. You change the levels of energy. You change the way that you do it, the context in which you do it. And then also too, like, yeah, but that does require like a lot of like intentionality with that, right? And even then creating that space in which you can be more like seductive and whatnot in those ways.
So out of my own curiosity, why does it change?
What do you
from
mean?
the beginning of the relationship? If the goal is playing, and maybe this might just be a temperament thing for you, sure. But if you can extrapolate it to the general population, I think this might be a universal situation where the playfulness does change over time.
Yeah.
Things get more serious, like we were saying before. So you're saying that you have to be more intentional with the playing.
Yeah.
Fair. But why is it different than the beginning of the relationship?
Well, because there's so much novelty at the beginning.
Is that
the relationship?
The flirting at the beginning is just mostly a byproduct of novelty? The
well, like
newness
there,
of it?
I think that energy that's so like easily created when two people are attracted to one another. Like there's a freshness to that. There's like, this is a new person, new energy. I'm excited. Like there's a lot of novelty in that. Whereas like, it's not that you don't desire your partner, you don't feel all these feelings with them, but it's, we are human at the end of the day. You do get used to like the everyday like stuff. So if you're approaching things in the everyday way, it's like, it becomes almost monotonous. And then also on top of that, like as you develop a serious relationship, you're having serious conversations, you're engaging in like each other's like traumas and what, like there's like, you're dealing with a lot of deep stuff as well, right? And so you can kind of get, at least for us, and like I said, we're very like big overthinkers, can really get caught up. Like we're the opposite of those people who can't take anything serious. We take everything so seriously. So for us, it's like, okay, well, we have to like kind of bring our heads out of the water and be like, okay, but like we also have a lot of fun with one another. Gotcha. Not that we don't have fun. We have lots of fun with each other every single day. Like it's not that we don't have that like banter and that back and forth. We have great fun conversations on a daily basis. Why I love him so much. But that aspect of it, there's no like seduction behind those conversations. There's none of that like intrigue that you were talking about.
But does there need to be for it to be playful?
No, not always. Yeah. Not always. And that's why I'm like, there is a difference between like playfulness and like flirting for me, right? And bringing in that aspect, you do have to kind of be aware and intentional about bringing that freshness into the relationship. Because if you're doing the same things all the time, well, like I said, we're human. We get used to that thing, and it doesn't carry the same weight. It doesn't carry the same energy when it's done over and over again. You got to switch things up, as one does in so many aspects of life, right?
Right. Believe me, I am well aware of switching things up. Right. Believe you me. It's just so interesting. Yeah. I'm having a hard time wrapping my brain around it.
I'm definitely willing for my mind to be changed or expanded upon.
Oh, no, I don't think like what you're saying, like I don't disagree with what you're saying. I don't think there's any like major thing that like, all right, whatever about this thing is blah, blah, blah. Yeah. It's like, no, it's just for me personally.
Yeah.
In my adult life, my context for relationships longer than 2 years is lacking, right? So I don't have enough personal reference to have an idea of how I would be in a situation that persisted for as long as yours has.
Yeah.
But I'm like, the playfulness of desire. To me, desire is like the entire conversation we were having before.
Yeah.
This desire to me is the game. That's the playfulness. And what it looks like in the shorter term things that I've been in and the different people that I've been in those things with, it's playful, but that playfulness is so variant within that desire.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
It does. I think what it is for me is calling attention, because like I said, it's not as if that desire is not there. You have, like, you know what I mean? Like,
it's like implicit for the relationship.
Right.
Yeah.
It's expected. It's assumed, right? We're together. We're, hopefully you and your partner in a relatively healthy relationship. You want to be there. You are attracted to the person. So the desire and the for your partner is assumed, but it's calling attention to that's like where the intentionality is. Calling attention to that desire. It adds like a freshness to it. So it's taking away the assumption.
Yeah, no, it's like it's the literal reversal of how things were at the beginning.
Right.
Like you were saying.
Yeah.
If the implication and the fun is really trying to figure out if the desire is there, and the flirtation is how you
Explore that.
Not necessarily explore it, but it's how you reveal it, imply it.
Totally.
Because flirting in and of itself, taking homeboy as an example again, he's just the sacrificial lamb for today's podcast. Yeah. Why was his flirting situation so bad? Yeah. It was too explicit. Yeah. It was too over the top. It was too direct. Yeah. Flirting is... Like, if I could use a word in replacement for flirting, it would be implication.
Yeah.
Subtle implication. Totally. And ambiguity, as we were so skillfully talking about earlier. Yes. And really you trying to grapple with the idea of whether or not this person is as into you as you think they are. Yeah. And the game and the fun and the play is, or I should say the seduction of it, is how much you can reveal without actually revealing, and how much they can get you to reveal, and how much you guys can say the thing, the quiet part out loud without saying the quiet part out loud. Because the moment you ruin it, and you're like, oh, I want to see your titties. Or do you have a man? Right. Well, it's like, well, that's not sexy. That's kind of
completely
weird.
deflated.
Like, oh my God, we were having so much fun. Yeah. But all of a sudden now it's over the top. Yeah. People enjoy this uncertainty that is cultivated within the realm of desire. That being said, uncertainty in a long-term relationship is not a good thing to have.
Not at all. Not what I want. No, thank you.
I remember that. It's crazy. So yeah, uncertainty is not the thing. Yeah. And wow, man, this conversation could have went so differently if I realized this before we started, because this is a thing. This is like the nature of my argument for short-term relationships that we're going to talk about
at some point
in Q2. I'm preparing it. You ready? Okay. Indeed.
For sure.
Because the fight for long-term relationships while you're getting into them is the pursuit of security, certainty. Yeah. But the pull, the draw, the reason why you participate, the energy, the fuel, I would say, for human interaction is that uncertainty. Right. Uncertainty is the foundation for desire, because if you know things too much, you're too familiar, you take that shit for granted, whatever. Yeah. But you need that security so you can have the babies, you can do the thing, you can maintain a long-term interaction, so you can survive against the environment together. You need certainty. Right. Human beings are so annoying. When I think about this, I always get annoyed, because like, well, but if the thing that makes me want to be here is uncertainty, but the thing that I need to be here is certainty. Why?
It's a mind fuck.
Why the?
It's like, how do you maintain?
How do you do this? Right. Your method is the reversal, which is by calling attention to the agreed upon certainty, you reshape it in a way that becomes less certain. It's not uncertain per se. Right. But it's definitely not as certain as like, yeah, I know you love me. Right. But I love you like this now. Oh, and maybe I love you like this now. And maybe I love you like this now.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Fun, interesting. See, you're already, even that idea, you're like already there.
Gotcha.
Versus the way I think about it, because maybe I haven't persisted that long, is reshaping the uncertainty, but still keeping it. I wonder if that's even possible for a relationship that's long. Maybe not for most people.
Yeah.
Maybe not for the most anxious among us. Maybe that's not a good thing because, again, most people with anxiety need that fucking certainty.
You're right.
And they need to know without a shadow of a doubt that you're into me, right?
Right.
Maybe I'm not today.
Oh my gosh.
And maybe that's not as sexy as you want it to be.
No,
but
it's not.
But to me, like, maybe like it's a little rough around the edges, but I wonder if I could like reshape it in a way that can maintain that like that little nugget of maybe he's not as into me as he's been saying this entire time.
I think it's maybe more for women. It's like, it's more so of like, almost like, I could be wrong. This is just my thought that just came into my brain just now. More of like being objectified by your partner to a degree, less so about like, I feel like for maybe to maintain like this flirty uncertainty nature in the relationship, to like maintain that the dynamic maybe as a man would be less about acting as if you're not into the woman, but more so like, I want you because I desire you. Like almost sort of like kind of towing that line of objectifying, but it's sexy. Whereas like the woman, it may be more of a thing of like, chase me. Let's see if I want you today. That could be completely wrong. That's also kind of going based off of like very like stereotypical like male female dynamics.
The way I was thinking about it was kind of the conversation that we're going to have about infidelity and the threat of the third. Right. So not necessarily, not the nugget that I'm trying to manifest and cultivate in my future relationship that doesn't exist yet is in that same realm of never really taking your partner for granted because he could be with another person.
I see.
But it's not necessarily like, I know he loves me. Yeah. But is he going to stay with me?
I see.
Is he going to do something outside of the bounds of this relationship? And, you know, as I'm saying this out loud, I realize this is like, that's such a hard thing to cultivate without the other things that comes with that. Yeah. Like, why are you acting in a way that's making your partner that insecure? Right. But how much of that insecurity is like good insecurity and not good insecurity?
Yeah, like a recognizing that like, oh, my partner is like a catch.
He could if he wanted to. I know he's not going to, but he could if he wanted to.
And yeah, I need to make sure I maintain this and secure this because I don't want to lose this. Yeah. There's
something there. Once you do the security thing, it stops being a game. Yeah. It stops being playful. Yeah. Why? Is it emotion? Is that the thing? Is that really the thing?
I don't know. I don't really want it to be a game. Like I'm thinking like, it's just like funny hearing you say that because I'm here, right, in my relationship. And I'm like, that just doesn't sound appealing to me. It doesn't mean that like we don't have like these levels of like desire, like all these things that we're talking about, right? But like, and maybe in ways unknown to me, that aspect is like an undercurrent of our relationship. I don't think so at all. And it doesn't sound appealing to like keep up the game, right? That is kept up while you're in like a dating phase with someone or while you're just like kind of dating around in general.
Dating forever is not appealing to you.
No. Jesus Christ.
Like not you can tell, like that's just not something you like, oh God, no.
I'm very happy.
But what if that mindset is the issue? What if that's what we're talking about right now?
Well, I mean, sure, you're talking about like dating your partner, maintaining that like
perpetually.
Yeah, no, I'm totally there. I agree with you. I'm there with you about dating my partner, but like. I don't know. I just like maybe
like why
maybe
is
I
the
got caught
beginning
up
of
in
a relationship so different than the 2-year mark? Because I literally can't answer that question. For myself.
I definitely look. I see what you're saying, and I do agree that there. Like, how do you maintain what was kind of that energy that was had like at the beginning of the relationship? I do understand what you're saying, and I do agree. Like those themes even I like think about and talk about with Matt, right? Like, how do we like continue to maintain that as we grow together
Like
as
the
a
things
couple?
that should change.
Right.
Should those things be different?
What things should change and what things should we try and make sure that energy maintains?
Precisely. It took a while. We got there.
Yes.
We're on the same
I
page
see.
now.
Yes, I see. I got caught up on the word game. I'm like, bitch, if you playing games with me, no. I literally am over the games. I'm over the games.
Language is so crazy, man. That's the second time we had a discussion like that about the language.
The language.
But yeah, so I don't know, man. I don't know, because the process is where the energy is. That's where the playfulness exists. When you switch it up, the novelty of the switch up that you guys just had is, I would argue, the same novelty that is the novelty of when you guys started. So you have to re-novelize it for yourself.
Yeah.
So
it definitely was a new space that we were engaging in together.
And maybe this is
engaging the space in a new way.
Right. But like maybe like it's kind of impossible to maintain novelty as you become familiar, because it defeats the purpose of becoming familiar. And maybe the only way to maintain novelty is to revamp, like you guys are doing. But I wonder if there is a way within the process and the concept and the context of a long-term relationship to maintain some sense of novelty in perpetuity. Is that even possible? I don't know. To the listeners, I'm really just thinking out loud. I'm really trying to grapple with this idea. I don't know. I don't know. But I do think that it's a very important form of love, and it's very necessary. It's a very necessary form of love, because how freaking boring is it to be overly familiar?
Yeah. No, totally.
Goodness. And that's really the crux of the issue. You see these people, again, like I said at the beginning of this freaking episode, relationships don't look fun.
Yeah.
Y'all be making these shits not look fun at all. Not you. You're fine. You make them look a different way. That's a separate issue. But most people do not. They don't look like they're having fun in these relationships. And I'm just like, why? Why are you with a person for 3 damn years?
Well,
that's
I think
3 damn years of your life, and you look like you're not enjoying it. And like, I think that's kind
of a separate conversation, though. Why people pick who they pick, why people stay.
I don't think so. What my thing, I'm talking about people who you see the start of the relationship. The relationship's fine.
Yeah. But
they're not having fun.
Yeah.
Like life is really like they're fighting life, and life is winning low key.
Yeah.
And just like, is that just a byproduct of the age group that we're in and people just struggling to survive? Maybe they don't have time for fun. Me personally, I think if I was in a relationship, I would be having a lot more fun than what it seems like people are having. They don't seem like they're enjoying themselves.
Yeah.
Maybe that has to do with their partner. Maybe that has to do with something else. Bro, I don't fucking know.
I don't know either. I don't know.
Well, that's the ramblings of Jem for a little bit. Am I concerned? I don't know, bro. That's neither here nor there. Play is important in relationships.
Flirting is important.
In human interaction. Even though Liv does not agree, or Renee does not agree.
I just don't think it's flirting. I just don't.
I'm not gonna down that hill. It's fine.
I think it's like semantics. Like I know exactly what you're saying, and I agree with like the actions of the things, but the way that you're defining
Why do we argue about words so much? That's such an interesting thing. Like we don't argue about literally anything.
Yeah.
And now I've discovered that we argue about words. Yeah. This is a new development for me.
Because that's the only thing we can argue about.
Is it?
I don't know.
Probably.
For the most part.
Wrapping it all up, bringing it together. Flirting's interesting. Flirting's really, really interesting because I don't think most people really know how to do it. But I don't think it's hard to do. It's simple, but like difficult for people. And maybe like you were saying, that's a confidence thing in a relationship with oneself idea that they don't really have a lot of access.
Yeah, definitely can get in the way.
So if I had to I guess give a little bit of a tip on how to flirt outside of the confidence realm is only try to flirt with people that take you out of your brain, which sounds counterintuitive. because the moment you see someone you're attracted to, you're
Immediately
immediately in your head.
Yeah.
You're immediately in your head.
Yeah.
Like clockwork. But I know as a man, and all the guys listening to this can understand what I'm saying. There's a girl that makes things just, I know this. I just experienced this actually very recently. A girl that just makes things, like you don't think about anything but how beautiful the girl that's in front of you is.
Yeah.
And everything just falls into place when you're not thinking about it. You look in her eyes because her eyes are so captivating.
Wow.
You know, you look, you respond to what she's saying because you're so interested in it.
Yeah.
You want to take her out because she's beautiful enough to take out. And a girl that makes you feel like that, y'all be flirting kings, Riz gods. I'm saying, y'all don't understand. But yeah. That's what you gotta find. Don't shy away from the intrigue of life, because what else do you have as an adult? You're gonna go to an arcade, you're gonna play video games. Yeah. As far as human interaction goes, flirting's all we got, low key.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that. I think flirting with people, I think that can even, this might be confirming your thing, but flirting like with people who you, because I remember like even when I like my early 20s, like I would flirt with people who I didn't care to like be with, or I wasn't necessarily attracted to, but we had like a good energy. Yeah. So I would kind of capitalize that on practice and
get your banter up, capitalize on how to do it. So when it actually matters, you got some shit in your repertoire.
Right. Yeah. You know where that baseline source energy is in order to, but like I'm trying to tell you right now, like I was intentionally shifting that, taking what was already a good natural energy with someone and intentionally shifting it into a flirting way, because there's no stakes attached to it. And then that way, like you're saying, when it mattered, I can kind of harness and call back to that energy and try and cultivate that with a person that I was actually attracted to.
My thing in that is that why don't you just do that with everything? So that there's no stakes attached to anything.
Says the single man. Right.
Hey man, don't let my current situation fool you. That shit has worked for me. That shit has worked for me.
No, as a single person, I think that's you're totally, no, I agree. I see what you're saying. I'm talking
about the single people.
Yes.
These are people trying to get into relationships. The stakes have to be low. The stakes have to be non-existent. There's already too many stakes.
Yes. This is true. Yep, I agree. I hear you. With that being said, then, if you want to see our beautiful faces a lot more, then I suggest you follow our Instagram. Maybe take a look at our TikTok, our YouTube, subscribe over there, and maybe like our Facebook page for just good measure, you know?
Good measure. That freaking Facebook page, man.
Still post on it. I post our reels.
Actually? But yeah, at the end of the day, I'm Jem.
And I'm Renee. When are we done talking about flirting? I'm over it.
And we're the intellectuals signing off until next time. God damn.
Bye. Bye.